Welcome, my sweet, degenerate scalping addicts. Tonight, I'm going to invite you into the realm of possibilities, the frontier of scalping, where dreamers die and something else. I do not know what I'm going to say, but we're going to find out in just a minute because we are going to be scalping using the RLZ Slingshot Indicator. I've been getting a lot of requests from the community, more exactly the trading program members, and they're actually the only ones that have access to this indicator right now. And they wanted me to go through the 5 minute to show which settings I have on the indicator and how I'm approaching scalping using this indicator. And it looks like the GBP short that I posted, like right here, 1.5 hours ago, we posted that GBP and CD long. And I'm not sure people got in on that one because actually when I started writing about this setup, it started moving. You can see here on the 15 minute, I opened right on the top of that candle, and yeah, as you can see, it started taking off right after entry. But this is such a nice signal on the 4 hour. It's beautiful. You see that it's a very rare occurrence, honestly. Like we don't have these entry triggers very often. And you can see here that I don't have the fib settings on the indicator, and that gives us a lot of signals. So these long and short signals are based on the indicator printing the entry trigger without being in the right fib area. So if we go into the indicator and we put on the fib tool, the Fibonacci placement, you'll see that a lot of these signals will disappear, but what will be visible instead is the strong signals. Here we have the strong and the weak signals. So quite a few strong here, but you can see this candle right here, the previous one was a strong long signal. Now the current candle is one as well, but that's not going to be a valid signal. But what I like about this strong signal here is that we don't have this very often, but when they do come along, they're quite good. And that is this strong pin bar candle or hammer, like call it whatever you want, but it has a very small bullish body and then a big wick to the downside. And this wick, like the candle opens right on the 50% fib, and then that wick comes down into reload zone, hit that monthly open perfectly in confluent with that midpoint of the reload zone, and we also have that trend line, and then it closes above the 50 once again. So it's like price hits the 50, goes down into reload zone, grabs a lot of buy side liquidity, and then closes above the 50 again. That is such a beautiful signal of the indicator, and also of the system. When I traded this without the indicator back in the day, this was one of the signals that I really liked. I don't really talk about pin bar candles a lot, but that's because they're quite rare. But when they do come along, when you have that pin bar opening and closing above the 50% fib with that wick going down into reload zone, it's a really good signal. Now, I haven't seen this one in many months, so they don't occur that often. How come there are no signals? Let me. And by the way, if you want to get access to this indicator, it's going to get released on April the 1st. It's only going to get released in for 100 people. So only 100 people will ever be able to sign up to this indicator. So you'll have to sign up to the newsletter because we're going to release it in batches in the newsletter. So make sure you are signed up to the newsletter. You can find the link in the description of this video. Let's take a look at this question. How come there are no strong signals when the fib function is off? Well, basically, if we put because the strong signals are based on the signals triggering based on the reload zone, and we have also included the 50. So it's basically the area between the 0.786 and the 50. So if we remove the function of automatically adding the fib levels, that also means that we're not filtering out which of the signals are normal long signals or strong long signals. Now the indicator actually, it loads much faster without the fib automatic fib placements. I can show an example here. If we go into, and if we add back the Fibonacci placement, it's going to take a while to load. And if we go to the next chart here, you'll see that it takes a while for the indicator to pop up on the chart here and give you the signals. And this takes a little bit too long to do some market scanning. Now, if you're going to scan the market, you don't want to wait for the indicator to show up. So if you go in here and you untick the Fibonacci placement, you'll see that the indicator loads much quicker, and you'll be able to flick through the pairs on your watch list much quicker, because obviously the indicator loads much quicker. So what I actually do recommend to most people using this indicator is to focus on being on the not using the automatic fib placement, but you should definitely use the automatic fib placement when creating signals. So what I do is I have a separate chart layout, which is called RLZ Slingshot Alerts Public, and this is the chart layout that's used in the alert channel in the Discord channel. So you see here on the Forex 4-hour alerts, for example, it's going to bring up, it's going to be this chart right here. So the signals are based on strong longs and strong shorts using this chart layout right here. But when I'm actively trading, I'm not using the Fibonacci placement, because it's very easy for me to see that, yeah, this would probably be a long signal. Why? Because, well, looking at this low and this high, well, that's obviously somewhere around the reload zone. If we add the fibs here, you'll see that, yeah, we have the fib, the RLZ, the reload zone around this area. Now, of course, price goes down, so it kind of invalidates it, but it's quicker. And when doing the market scan, it's just much quicker. You can add this one right here. See, is this a long signal worth taking? Absolutely, because it hits the reload zone. It closes about the 50s. It's a valid signal. Now, we're not going to be focusing on swing trading in this webinar today. We're going to be scalping. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to log off on this Awanda demo account. So this demo account is connected to all my funding accounts. So I just have to check the funding accounts first to make sure that all the positions are actually open. Right, so this is that one. So that position is open right here, running in pretty good profit. And we have the next one. That's the 55ers. Why does it need to make changes? Well, yeah, maybe. Let's go. Probably downloading a virus or some shit right now. It takes forever to load. I don't like that. What did I do? All right, so position open on that one as well. Good to see. And we'll go to the next one. Position is open on that one as well. So I just have to double check to make sure that everything is running correctly with the trade copying. So now what we're going to do is we're going to log into the live account that I use to scalp. And it's also, I want to show you guys that just because it says Awanda demo here, I'm not trading on a demo account. I'm just using this Awanda demo account as a signals account. And the signals account is copying all the signals to all my other live accounts. And so let's log out of that one, and then we're going to log back in. It's not connected. Let's connect again. We're going to go live, and I'm going to connect my live scalping account. I might have forgot to disable this one from the previous signals accounts. I might have a open trade on GBP NZD right now. So let's take a look. Yes, I do have a trade open on You see, like it's kind of worthless swing trading on this account, because look at the profits, like 7 USD profit. So I should have a lot of margin available to, I do have quite a lot of margin available to scalp. So we can, this position is open on this account as well, about to hit TP, but it's, it's not a lot of, should I even keep that open? You know what? I don't really care about that. I'm just going to close this position. I mean, it's going to be tops, like $50 in profit. Well, anyway, it's a good position. Let's keep it open, and I'm going to close it unless if I need more margin for scalping. All right, so let's go to this chart right here. This is the other layout, which is a scalping layout. So I will copy this indicator, the RLZ Slingshot Indicator, onto the scalping chart layout, and we are going to go into the settings, and I'm going to show you what settings I have when scalping. So this is right now, this is the settings that I have for swing trading. And as you can see here, that EMA 1 is 20. And what I love about this indicator is it's very customizable. It's insanely customizable. You have basically, you have 3 EMAs, and you can use whichever EMA you want. If you're scalping on the very low time frames, let's say you're scalping, some low spread pair Euro USD, maybe on the, let's say, 1 minute, you might want to use much lower time frames. And even if you swing trading, you might want to try playing around and testing different ideas, like, for example, using the 8 and the 12 and the 21 EMA and something like that. But when I'm scalping, I'm usually using the 20, the 50, and the 100. So why am I using the 100 when scalping and only the 20 and the 50? And you can see here on the EMA length 3 that I had 51. That's because I have to have a number above EMA 2 just for this to actually work. And 51 and 50, it's pretty much the same thing. And so we're going to do 100. And why do I want the 20 and 50 and 100 when scalping the low time frames and not on the 4 hour? Well, that's because this indicator, part of the signals of this indicator, so the signals, they will, the entry triggers will be based on a bounce on the 20 EMA, which is the blue. The 20 EMA will always be the blue one, and all entry signals will be based on the 20 EMA. But EMA 1, EMA 2, and EMA 3, they need to be separated. They need to be fanned out. And as you can see right here, you have the 20, the 50, and the 100. Beautiful, a very nice, clear distance between all of these 3. This is when the good signals come along. And I've seen that when scalping, it's actually quite useful to have the third EMA as 100. And if you go into settings here, you'll see also that you have a number of candles since the last EMA cross is set to 10. So what's the last EMA cross? Well, this right here is the last EMA cross. So if you put a line on that one, you'll see that you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there can only be long signals after this candle. And why is that? Well, that's because I want to make sure that price is given enough time to let the EMAs kind of fan out and a trend to start. Because if the EMAs are just going to cross each other, we're most likely in a range, and that's just going to give us a lot of bad signals in bad areas. So to get good signals, to get fewer signals, you increase this, and to get fewer signals, you decrease that one, because quite obvious. And also it says right here, trend has to be established by 3 candles. So in this indicator, there is an algorithm which kind of calculates if the trend is bullish or bearish, and this should be ticked at all times. Now I've included this as an option to let you guys have something to play around with and test the profitability of it. But I highly recommend that you have this put on, because then it's a higher likelihood that the trend that you're trading and the trend you're getting signals in is actually a valid trend. And here you have the higher time frame and then high time frame sensitivity. So first you select the higher time frames. What are these signals going to be based on? What are the higher time frames that this indicator is going to be based on? And obviously, when scalping, I'm entering on the 4 hour, and I want the higher time frame to be the daily. And you can see here also that oh man, did I just remove the whole indicator? I think I did, man. Let's put that in again. All right, so let's see 100. Yeah, so you'll see right here that it says use high time frame trend. I'd highly recommend you have that on, because it's then going to give signals only if it's according to the high time frame trend. And now obviously when we're scalping, we're going to go lower. So we're on the 5 minute right now. So let's put the higher time frame at the 1 hour, and let's do it at the 1 hour and 20 EMA. And this is show close of high time frame candle. This is not really needed, but it could be used to develop different strategies using this indicator. So if you take that, you will see every 1 hour candle close, and that could be a good indication of using a strategy where you actually play off the high time frame candle closes. I don't recommend having this tacked on. It's not that useful for the way we're doing it. All right, so we also have this tick, signals only in above, below the high time frame EMAs, and those are going to be these one down here. So these one down here, you have the high time frame EMA1 and high time frame EMA2. And what this means is, if we have that box ticked, if you have this box ticked, the signals only in above or below the high time frame EMA, it's going to give you signals only if it's so it's going to give you long signals only if it's above the 20 EMA, and it's going to give you short signals only if price is below the 20 EMA. I've chosen not to integrate the 50 because we're getting a little bit more signals. And of course, you have show stop loss and TP levels. That's if you have strong signals, you're going to get automatic stop loss and TP levels on, and then you can optimize which of these, which of the TP levels are good. You can see these numbers do not really align with the fib levels of the system, but that's because we're front running the fib levels just slightly. And then we have this one. If you take this one, you're going to have, this basically says right here, FTA, this is the first trouble area. So if you have this ticked, TP1, it's going to be the first trouble area instead. So that's going to be like a high time frame candle closes instead of the TP1, or the weekly open instead of the TP1 if the weekly open is closer and gives you good risk to reward. And here you can play around with the stop loss placement. So here you have a stop loss placement based on fib, and that's basically just below the reload zone, or ATR, or you have ATR plus fib, and that's ATR plus fib works really, really well, and then you can play around with these settings of that, but I do recommend keeping the original ones. And then you have the Fibonacci placement right here, which I do not recommend to play around with much. You can maybe optimize the RLZ area if you will. And then yeah, so these are, I recommend keeping most of these to the original settings, unless you want to like play around with it. And then when you get to know the indicator, you can actually start testing new stuff and optimizing the scalping strategy. But here we're going to go with the high time frame being the 1 hour for scalping, and we are going to change some stuff here. We're going to use pin bars, we're going to use engulfings, and we are going to use the new signal, which is the momentum signals. And we also have a new thing, which is ADX for filtering strong signals. And this should add more validity or more profitability to the scalping signals. But I've chosen to not have this on because I would like to have more signals and then choose the signals myself. And then you have this stochastics or side filter, which I recommend having different settings when scalping. If you want to go off automatic scalping with automatic scalping signals, I do recommend having the lower stochastic RSI to 30 and the higher to higher for 70. Now I switched that around to have basically a very wide stochastic RSI area where I can get signals. And then when scalping and you're going to rely on mostly on the signals, having this tick means that there needs to be a stochastics bull cross before a long signal or a bear cross before a short signal, and that could be very valuable to change as well. But we're not going to do that in this webinar, but it's definitely worth checking out when you get this indicator. So let's go to the 1 hour. I mean, we're going to change the high time frame EMA to 1 hour, high time frame 2 to 1 hour as well. And I think that's the settings we have. So basically what I've changed is I've just added the 100 to the EMA 3. I have changed high time frame to 1 and EMA 20, and then high time from EMA back down here is going to be 20 and 50 on the 1 hour. And I think that's it. So you see right here, these are the 1 hour EMAs, and then this is the 15-minute trend basically. So we're I'm going to log into the trading account here again. Here we go. That's the one. Now let's see if we can actually get some scalps in here. So we know that GBP NCD is moving very nicely. This is definitely something we want to keep our eyes on. And the trade here is quite obvious, right? We were basically looking for. Also, do I have the scalping signals left? No, I actually removed those and I forgot to add more. So we're not going to have any signals for this webinar, unfortunately. Well, let's see if we can compound this position with some low time frame scalping setup. So I'm just going to be adding alerts here. And one cool thing you can do is if you right click the indicator here, you can press this and you can press add alerts on the indicator. And then what you want to do is you want to go to the RLZ Slingshot, the indicator, and then crossing, and value is going to be the slingshot, and then it should be the EMA 1. So if you add this alert, that's going to be well, no, it's going to be price. All right, so you want to have a price crossing EMA 1. So when price of GBP NCD is hitting or crossing the EMA 1, you'll get an alert. And remember, the signals are based on a 20 EMA, so you want that's going to be your entry figure. So you're going to be adding an alert right here on that one. And then we're going to go down through the list. Maybe we should look at maybe we should look at this list. Never mind. We want to look at Bitcoin as well. The indicator will be released on April the 1st, and we're going to be announcing when we release the first batches in the newsletter. So if you're signed up to the newsletter, you will get we will start sending out we're probably going to be sending out like the first batches on that weekend, Saturday, probably on the 1st. We're going to be sending out a newsletter with the first probably 10 or 20 batches, and then somewhere around the weekend after, we're going to be sending out more, and probably once every weekend we will be sending out 10 or 20 new signups until we hit that 100. There's not going to be a free trial. So there's not going to be a free trial. It's a monthly subscription. So if you want to try it out, you can buy it for a month and can view that as a trial. The reason why we're not doing it in trials is that I'm fairly certain that people are going to enjoy it, and we have a lot of people actually waiting to get their hands on it already. So GBP NCD, then we go down and we have basically what we're looking at now, or what I'm looking at, is some good looking trends. You know, I'm going to yeah, can I copy that one? No, I can't. Can I make a copy? Scalping. So then we have a copy of that one. And what I want to do is I just want to have all the interesting scalping pairs. I want that to be in the first list. So this is the new scalping list. And everything that's interesting for scalping, we're going to move that up to the first list. So GBP NCD, good trend. Not a very good trend. That's a good trend. I'm just going to continue doing this. Well, looks, no, not really. And the whole strategy here is exactly the same as when I'm swing trading. I'm doing the market scanning in the exact same way as, and this is the beauty of the system. Now, this is the beauty of the RLZ method. It works on all time frames, because it's like the whole trading system was created with the fractal nature of price action in mind, which is a very important part of trading this system, to understand that the way price action moves on a daily and the weekly, you will find the same patterns on the lower time frames as well, and it's going to hit the reload zone as well. It's going to show you the same type of entry triggers. So basically what I'm doing at this here on this first scan is just watching and looking for what could be described as a trend. And whenever I see something that looks like some sort of trend, I'm moving that up to the first list, and I'm basically going to start looking for entries in the direction of the overall trend. Now, some of the pairs where you have very low spread, I might actually go into the 1 minute to see if we can get any entries on the 1 minute. Right, Euro USD. Let's take a look. Did we look at Euro USD? Right, yeah. So what I'm not liking about this, so first we kind of have to look at the overall market structure. And what I'm not really liking about this is that we have a sort of change in behavior of the trend. So I would say that we have a very clear range here. I think that's a pretty clear range, and it breaks that range low right here, creates some sort of downtrend, breaks it here, bullish break in market structure, and the bull trend kind of starts. And from here, you have a quite clear behavior of that trend. You can see how the highs and the lows they're printing in a similar fashion here, but then a downtrend starts here once again when you break that uptrend. So I think we have, if you look at this uptrend, there's definitely a change in behavior here on the 5 minute on Euro USD. And I would love to have gotten in on like that dip here, or that one, or maybe that one, or perhaps this one. But now it looks like we actually need to see something like this, and we could long here on a inverse head and shoulders kind of thing going on, whatever you want to call it. Let's actually put an alert above this level right here, and I'm going to be looking. What's up, man? And I want to also look at a couple of altcoins if we can't find anything super clear here. We have alerts set on that one. GBP USD. This is coming down nicely. I'm going to put an alert right here. Get GBP CAD. Where's the 20? This looks pretty good though. Not sure. GP JPY. I think this could be a good move. I might even consider. All right, based on the 15-minute anchor. All right, let's take a look at that. Yeah, I definitely see what you're talking about. Probably this, and that makes perfect sense. And then you go to the 5-minute, and yeah, okay. So yeah, it actually makes a lot of sense when you look at the 15 minutes. So definitely, I definitely agree with that. And then you also have a possible long signal here on the 15-minute as well. You know, I kind of have to agree with you on this. It looks really good. It does look very good, and there's going to be a long signal here, most likely on the 15-minute. That might also be a strong long signal. Now, if that's a strong long signal, it's really means that the indicator is working very well. I really hope it's a long signal. Yeah, that's beautiful. Look at that. That's a strong long on the 15-minute. And let's add the take profits as well. See if they're added correctly as well. Let's look at the first trouble area, where that's at. Yeah, that's beautiful. So TP1 right below that one. So yeah, this is actually great. Could be a great setup, and I think we would have an average R of around somewhere between 2.5 and 3, depending on what this candle close. I mean, it's 11 minutes, right? So it's still quite a lot. But yeah, definitely think that that would be a valid trade. So yeah, let's go back to that one. We're gonna put Euro USD on top of this list because it's basically just the most interesting one. We're back at Euro GBP. I love this trend right here. Now I want to add a trend line here, and look, hit that trend line, and we should probably be adding a trend line here as well. So we could definitely see this move like this. And here's the interesting part. This rejection happens inside the reload zone. This probably not. Now that goes above, but the second one is in the reload zone. And it's a perfect short signal right there, and that's a good one as well. So at least 1, 2, 3 out of these 3 touches of that above trend line, that's 2 out of these 3 touches hit the reload zone and actually gave us short signals. So that's pretty cool. I think that might be a strong long as well. So I mean, it's pretty crazy. Whenever I go through, whenever I do these scalping sessions and I go through the signals of the indicator, it's actually quite amazing to see how well it works. Look at this. Every single one of these signals would have been a strong short. It's amazing to see, honestly. So next time we hit that trend line, we want that hit to also be a hit of the reload zone, which it kind of looks like that might happen. It looks really good. So we might have something like this, right? That's what this setup would be based on. It's a very clear trend, very clear channel. So we're going to be moving Euro GBP up right under Euro USD. It's very low liquidity. I mean, it's very low spread on Euro USD. I mean, if you go to Euro USD, it's like 1.1. Euro GBP, 1.1. It's a very low spread. So you might even get a position on the, like, let's go back to the 5-minute. I gotta be honest with you guys. Like, I do like scalping the 5-minute, but the 15-minute is probably the reason why I'm scalping the 5 minute and the 1 minute when doing these live streams is if I were to scalp the 15 minute, it would just take way too long, and I don't want to be sitting here all night. But yeah, if you go into the 1 minute, I mean, if you look at the 15 minute, this is just super clear on the 15 minute. Same thing with the Euro USD setup that Diehard Ellis found. And he found this because he has access to the indicator too, I'm pretty sure. These two setups are based on the 15 minute mainly. And if you go into the 5 minute, that hit of the reload zone up here, that's going to be too high of a pullback. But if you look at the 1 minute here on Euro USD, you see why you want those low spreads, right? You can get a really good entry with the lower spreads. For scalping, are your entries more right on the reload zone or still focusing on back test of the? So when scalping, I'm usually entering earlier when scalping, because when scalping I usually want to exit at the first trouble area, FTA. So if I, for example, if I were to take this signal, I might have market enter right here, stop loss here, and then TP1 right here for a like 1-to-1 R or something like that. And if I could get an entry here, stop loss entry here, stop loss here, and then TP at the first trouble area, maybe 1.5 or 2 R or something like that. So my winner is going to be much smaller when scalping, but the win rate stays the same. So the win rate is around 60% when scalping, which means I can get away with anything above 1 R is good. So usually when scalping, I try to get in as early as possible, and I like doing that multi-time frame analysis. So let's say, for example, you have a good area here on the 15 minutes. So you've identified this area on the 15 minutes, and you're doing your analysis on the 15 minute, but we're going to be using the 5 minute and the 1 minute to get an entry. And of course, we're only going to be doing that on the pairs with good spread. So if you go to the 5 minute, I might, let's see, let's add the fibs here. And looking at the 5 minute, I don't know, like I might have looked at this and said, well, okay, let's take a look at the 1 minute. So what I would do here is, and it's quite clear, you have that uptrend, and then the momentum of that uptrend is kind of slowing down. So what I would want to see on the 1 minute is basically this, and I would enter here. So I've done the analysis on the 15 minute, looked at the 5 minute, and then I want to do my entry on the 1 minute. So I'm waiting for that breakdown. That's the breakdown. So that's on the 1 minute. I would probably not have gotten an entry on this. Yeah, so actually I would not have been able to enter this on the 1 minute. I would probably only been able to enter this based on that 15-minute candle. And honestly, maybe I wouldn't have taken this trade because it's just the candle is too far down. But I do apply multi-time frame analysis when scalping to get as good entry as possible somewhere inside the reload zone. But more often than not, you have that break and retest of the 50 as well. And usually when I take an early entry inside the reload zone and it's a good trade, I would have been able to enter that trade with the break and retest of the 50 as well, with a similar risk to reward. So most of the time, I would say that it's actually best just to wait for that break and retest of the 50. But usually when I'm scalping, I like to get in early. Okay, so it looks like there might not be a lot of trades tonight. And, it is what it is. It's going to be quite hard to, just find trades just like that. I do think we have something going on your USD here. So I'm going to be waiting for this trade. I might enter this before ending the live stream. Man, I'm basically just waiting for that alert to go off. We might I might want to start adding some start adding a setup here in case it would be a trade. So entry would probably be here. AUD NCD on 15-minute. Ooh, that's a pretty good one. I'm pretty sure you mean the 15-minute. But yeah, this looks like a pretty good one. AUD NCD. So we're going to be selling. We're going to probably be filled all the way down here, which is not great. Can that be a trade? No, obviously not. We want to get in. We want to get in here around that level. So maybe if we can put, we could probably put orders here. Yeah, definitely think we can put some orders here. I think TP1 would be around that area. I think this could be a trade. Yeah, let's put some orders on this one. So that's going to be TP1. Let's do create limit order. How much are we going to risk on this one? So let's do 1% on each position. So limit, sell right here, buy, stop loss, and TP1. 1%. Sell margin used. Okay, so it's going to be probably what I need to do in this case is put all the way down here. Can I do 2%? I'll do 1.5 because I already have that other position open. So I can use all my available leverage and risk 1.75%, and the TP would be all the way down here, and I would then have to use a trailing stop for that one. All right, so let's just put a limit order right here. Then we have Euro USD. Which of the setups looks best? Well, it's going to be Euro USD. So let's remove these orders here. Orders working inactive. Which ones are going to be? AD and CD. Yeah, okay, so let's remove AD and CD. Yes, and we are going to be instead opening a position on Euro USD, because this one obviously looks much better. So we look at the 5-minute. I'm going to place orders right here for a limit buy, and then stop loss below the reload zone. I'm actually going to close it. I'm going to open this position right now, and I'm going to do the same TP all the way up here, and we're going to be adding create limit orders, and then we're going to risk. Can we risk 2%? Yes, we can risk 2%. Can we risk 2.3%? We can. So that's going to be a trade. Now let's just wait till we get filled, which we might get filled right here. We have 17 seconds before the candle closes right here. So 15, 14, 13. Let's go a little bit lower, Need to get filled on that one. Preferably actually below, right before the candle closes, because I do think it's going to start moving. So 1 second left. Oh, come on. Let's go a little bit lower. Just a little bit lower. Oh, come on. Oh, man. That is so close. All right. Well, it at least it did hit that area. Let's see. Right? Is it? Come on. Let's go a little bit lower. Right. So I'm filled on that one. All right. You can bounce now. You don't have to go that far down. Yeah, I mean, sure, it's not the. You are within 2.5% of margin closeout. I don't care, man. I don't care. That margin call comes along and it's not going to answer. Yeah, I mean, sure, it might not be the best, but this is on your USD. Your USD will have quite good spreads, even at that time. And I will not be scalping in 1 hour. I mean, this session will probably be over during that time, and this trade will be secured and done with at that point. So yeah, I mean, we do have an interesting interesting trade right here. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of leverage on this live account. I do have way more leverage on Prime XBT though, so maybe we can check out Prime XBT. We got USD. How's your USD looking? What's the spread like on this one? It's pretty good. All right, let's do a trade on Prime as well. Do I have the? Let's see. What's the price here? 7297, 7273, 7373. All right, so it's pretty much the same trade. So we can use the same stop loss on Prime as well. So we're going to be buying Euro USD. Going to be entering at market. Is that stop loss? Yeah. Okay. So how much are we going to risk here? Let's do 25. Let's do probably not that much, but maybe 5. Yeah, let's do 75. It's going to be market entering right there. And let's go into where's this stop loss? Let's modify that one. Where's the TP at? The TP is going to be same as this one. It's pretty much the same position size on this one. All right, that's the trade. So you got one position open on Prime XBT, but I guess you should definitely check out Prime XBT. There's a link in the description. You can sign up, and if you use the code LIBS for the 2, you can get up to 7K deposit bonus. And leverage. Sometimes leverage when trading on legacy platforms like Oanda, like leverage can be a huge problem sometimes. And if you're funded like I am with the different fibers, they offer very low leverage. Like most of the funding firms out there, when you're doing some of the challenges, you're able to increase the leverage, but I think this account is 1 to 10, like 10 times leverage, which is not a lot, especially not with scalping. So I can't really be scalping well on that account. And then on Oanda, it's I think it's 30 or 20 times leverage, while on Prime XBT, if I'm not mistaken, is like 100. So yeah, it's pretty good. You can open up way more positions on and bigger positions on Prime XBT when scalping. Actually, 1 hour has put me off. Doesn't look like it's done pulling back. Are we talking about NCD USD? I think you're talking about NCD USD. Let's look at that one. 15 minute, and then yeah, you know what I don't like about the 15 minutes, and look at the 1 hour. Yeah, exactly. So even if you look at order canceled, AD&CD, why did I have an order on for AD&CD? Did I not remove that one? Failed, your USD working, your USD GBP. Yeah, okay, great. Maybe I just had something I forgot to remove. Yeah, so when looking at the 15 minute, you can see that it's just a really good level down here. And it kind of looks like this level just screams to be tested, right? And then if you go to the 1 hour, that's actually the right level on the 1 hour. And if you add so that's, you've done really good analysis right here, where you identified a possible setup on the 15 minute, and then you went on the 1 hour and you saw, wait a minute, it's a very good level on the 1 hour, and it's also visible on the 15 minute, and look how nicely that level aligns with the 0.618. It's just perfect, right? The same level as I added before is in perfect confluence with the 0.618 using this 1 hour fib area. So this is actually good, a good good example of a 15-minute trade that you might not want to be trading unless unless you see this local 15-minute trade breaking. And you can see on the 5-minute how that might look. You could say that this is the trend, and then if you see something like this, that might end, and then you might be able to trade this on the 15-minute. All right, so let's go back to the open position. We have one on Euro USD. It's not looking great, but it's also not looking very bad. There's one thing though. If you look at the 15-minute, well, let's look at the 1 hour first. So there's no clear levels below on the 1 hour. I mean, there are down here, but this is actually sort of a support area on the 1 hour. So it's not really the same as NCD USD. But if you go to the 15-minute, you can kind of see how, yeah, there's still a downtrend. But the thing is, when going into the even lower time frames, you're going to see a 5-minute break in market structure before it's visible on the 15 minutes. If you go into the 5-minute, it's not really a break in market structure. So I might have entered this a little bit too early, because this is still a fairly clean downtrend. And usually what I want to do is you want to enter when this trend is broken. And that would have looked like this. So that's the downtrend. And then you would have something like this. And this is where you want to enter. It's still an interesting setup though, because of the fact that it gave us that signal on the 15-minute. It hit the right area and gave us that stochastic RSI cross, and it looks decent on the 5-minute. So what we'll have to monitor this one with a couple of alerts. What I really think is cool here is the fact that like before, when I scalped, I have all sorts of indicator on the charts. I had all the different EMAs on the lower time frames and the high time frames and all the weekly and monthly open, and I had a lot of stuff that I had to take care of and monitor on the chart. And now all I have is this indicator, which is, it's pretty cool, because if a couple of last year, the beginning of last year, I didn't really trade actively with this indicator. But now I've just taken my whole trading system that I've been trading for years, and I've just put it into the indicator. And it's amazing when you learn how to use it. It's quite simple. And what I love is the alert system. So when I have the time, hopefully soon, I'm going to start adding scalping alerts, not only to the Discord server, but also for my own use, because it's just such a cool thing. What I do is I go to the alerts tab up here on TradingView, and then I'm just gonna put in I'm just gonna write scalping, right? And whenever I write scalping, I'm gonna get all the alerts up, which has the name scalping, or the text or the word scalping in the name of the alert, and I can then just activate those alerts during the scalping session. And then when I'm done scalping, I'm just going to deactivate them. And I think I talked about this in the last live stream as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a scalping channel for scalping signals in here, and whenever I'm scalping, I can activate that one or deactivate or mute it when I'm not available. The problem, though, is we can look at an example. This is not a problem when swing trading, but the signal on GBP NCD, the one I entered this trade based on that signal. That came in at 6. And the signal went to the Discord server at, well, actually at 6 as well, so the same minute. But sometimes there's a lag somewhere between 1 and 5 minutes. And all you like, if there's a lag of just 1 minute or 2 minutes when scalping, you might miss a big setup. And when there's if you're trading the 5 minute and there's a lag of 5 minutes, you have a whole new candle when you get the signal to the Discord server. So I'm not really sure it's worth having a scalping channel, because there's a delay, and that delay is obviously super important. So I might just set those scalping signals up for myself, actually, because it just makes more sense that way. All right, let's continue on the lower time frames here. This looks interesting on the 1 minute, actually. But obviously the spread is too high on this one. We got 4.8. So you can clearly see that the spread is very different here. If you look at the 1 minute on GBP NCD, you can get a good entry on the 1 minute with the spread. But if you go to Euro USD on the 1 minute, you can easily get a good entry even on the 1 minute. That's why it's very important to look at the spreads when scalping. And if you go into if you right click Trading View, you go into settings, and then you put on buy and sell buttons right here, you're going to see the difference between sell and buy price, and that's going to be the spread. And that's very important to keep your eyes on. And if you look at all the Forex majors, I have a list here with the Forex majors plus crosses. You can see that they all have quite low spread. Euro USD, and they all have below 2 in spread, which is great. Well, GBP JPY and CHF JPY had a little bit above 2, but still quite good. Yeah, when scalping, I use the same settings for the 1 minute, the 5 minute, and the 15 minute as well. It depends on what time frame you're trading on. What's going to be your main time frame? So if you're, for example, let's say you're scalping, your main time frame is going to be the 15 minute, and all your entries are going to be based on the 15 minute. Well, I actually do think that these settings, having the 1 hour as high time frames, actually makes sense. So yeah, I would actually use the same time frame. But if you're going to be trading on, let's say the 1 hour, obviously it makes no sense to have the high time frames being the 1 hour. So when trading on the 1 hour, you might want to use the higher time frame, switch that to the 4 hour instead. And then when you're on the 4 hour, you switch time frame to the daily. So I would say that whatever time frame you're trading on, the higher time frame should be one time frame up. So if you're on the 5 minute, it should be the 15 minute. If you're on the 15 minute, it should be the 1 hour. If you're on the 1 minute, that high time frame should be the 5 minute or the 15 minute. Because when you're on the 1 hour, price moves quite. There's a lot of volatility on the 1 hour, 1 minute, obviously. So you might want to use the 15 minute as high time frames as well. But I don't like. Actually, there's nothing wrong with trading the 1 minute. If you're using this indicator, trade whatever time frame you want. There's nothing wrong with trading the 1 minute, as long as you're sticking to pairs that have low spread, where you can get a good entry. If you have the market buy, you're going to get a good entry. So on GBP JPY, for example, it's 3 in spread, but it's still acceptable. And by the way, this could be a really good short opportunity on GBP JPY. Not really according to the system, not really according to the high time frames, but if you see a wick up here, up into the reload zone, and then a rejection like a bearish engulfing candle, that would be just beautiful. But it looks like that rejection is happening a bit earlier now. The 1 hour close on GBP JPY. Let's take a look at that one. The 1 hour close on GBP JPY. No, I don't like this one. No, actually, this isn't really telling me anything, if I'm going to be honest. All right, so I have that Euro USD position open. It's looking better. There's definitely some change in behavior right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep that open, and I'm going to transition over to the 4 hour, because I'd like it. It's almost time to end this scalping session, and we did find one trade on Euro USD, and I'm going to let this one run, maybe monitoring it over the course of in this evening. If it's a run entry for too long, if it starts to develop a 5-minute range here, I'm just going to exit, even if I'm proper or not. I want like price needs to start moving higher in the next 10 minutes, or I'm probably out of this one. What I want to focus on here is I'm also going to move stops on GBP NZD to this level as soon as it hits that TP1, which it kind of looks like it's going to soon. And that's great. So let's go through. I want to go through the 4 hour. I want to go through this list on the 4 hour as well. See if we can find anything interesting. Also, I've also decided that this is something I've been thinking about a lot when it comes to news trading. Like, I'm I'm not trading through news events. But the thing is, when I've developed this system, I back tested everything, tested all the signals of the system. But when I did so, I didn't take into consideration news events. So I did a back testing session last year, and I noticed that the back testing session I did when I actually cared about news. So for example, what I would be doing is, you see right here, there's a ECB interest rate decisions. I have the news event, all the future news events here on TradingView. And you can see right here that right here on March the 16th, there's going to be an ECB interest rate decision. Now, this is a major news event. So what I did in the backtesting session is basically not entering any trades the day before or the day around this news event, to see, like, I wanted to backtest the idea, because in my head, not trading through news event just made perfect sense, right? You don't want to have an open position around entry when there's a major news event, because it's just going to wick around and it's going to take out your stop loss and it's going to run to TP1. That happens a lot. But when I backtested this, I saw that ignoring these news events was actually more profitable. Higher win rate and higher profitability with ignoring the news events, which is, to me, just absolutely insane. If you look at GBP NCD right here, tomorrow we have the unemployment rate for GBP. I think we have yes, we have employment change and unemployment rate for GBP, which is huge, right? Huge. And we also have the inflation rate for USD. So, if I stick with the previous idea of not entering trades when there's like news event coming up, I wouldn't have entered this one. But I saw through testing and through back testing that it's actually valid to do so. It's actually more profitable trading with ignoring the news events, which is amazing because that means the system is very robust and it's based on the fundamental truth of the markets, which is that markets they trend and trends usually continue, and that's the whole idea with the trend following system. You want to get in on the trend and you want to see that continue. And imagine that you have a news event, and unless the news event is way unexpected, price is probably going to follow the previous trend. Now, unexpected news events, they don't come along that often. Well, it happens, but more often than not, the news events will be as expected. So price will probably just be following along that trend. So most of the time, these trades where you do have news events around entry will be winners because the trend will continue most of the time. So what I've started doing is I've actually started ignoring the news. So this will be the first time I'm kind of live testing this, which is like I'm a bit nervous because it goes against everything that I've learned about trading. That you should not ignore major news events. I'm going to be journaling this this trade right here before we I want to look at AD CAD as well, the one that got stopped out. So in this morning live stream, we talked about AD CAD, which got stopped out, and this was actually the AD CAD setup. We had that one right there, and it got stopped out here. And we then talked about how we wanted to have a setup that looked like this, and that would have been stopped out as well. So that was a good stop out. Even both of these setups would have been stopped out, and the whole behavior of this trend now looks very different. So I'm just positive about this one. I think it's a good stop out. Let's add a new trade here. When did we open this one? Let's see. We opened this one on account. Okay, transaction history. GBP NCD. So we entered that one at market 1830. 1830. It was on GBP NCD. It's the RLZ Slingshot 4-hour. It's a buy. And then we're going to be looking at the actual setup, which is this one. And I guess I have to add that one as entry because there's no... Well, actually, I'm going to use that one. So that's more what it looked like at the time of entry. Oh, that's the wrong one. Back to trading view. Let's put in the entry price. The entry price, and then we have stop loss. Then I'm going to adjust the average TP. So that's going to be 50, 50, 50, probably somewhere around here. It's going to be our average exit. Advanced trade data, entry comments, yes, it's according to plan. Entry time frame 4-hour. Macro news, yeah, I'm actually going to mark this because I would normally not have taken this trade. Entry conference is indicator signal, yes. Low time frame break and retest up to 50. Not really. I would say that this is actually an immediate reaction. Did it hit the reload zone? Yes, it hit the reload zone. It hit the 1 month. It hit the weekly open as well. Do we have a trendline area? Yes, we do have a trendline area. Do we have a stochastic or side cross? No. So that's it. TP1 has not been hit yet. Screenshots, regular trade. All right, so everything's done here. Let's see. We currently have a 0% win rate this week, and we have a 33% win rate this month. So not the best month, but I'm still glad that following the process, everything is as it should be. On ADK, the fact that price hung around the 20 EMA entry price for a few candles should have been a signal to cut, or is it better to wait and see if stop loss is hit or not? Let's look at that. Yeah, it's yeah, I mean, it's a great question. It's a great observation for sure. So let's use the replay function here, and let's try to kind of go through this. So I entered this trade based on a low time frame break-in structure around, I believe, that area. So I think I entered here, I believe. All right, man. Take care. Probably gonna see you tomorrow, hopefully, in the webinar. If you're not working on that time. So yeah, okay. Stop loss was, I think, up here, and then TP obviously down here. So let's go through this setup. How I think TP stop loss was here. So yeah, this is a good it's a good signal. I mean, not a signal. This is a good setup. I did really like this one. So let's see. Let's go through this like candle by candle, and let's try to put ourselves in the situation where we just entered this trade. And that's obviously really hard, but we can try. So we've entered this trade. It looks really good. I'm confident that this is a good trade. Even if this is not a good trade, I'm still accepting that this is a good trade. Even if this stops me out, I'm still accepting that this is a good trade, and whatever happens, it's still an interesting trade. Next candle gives us a short signal. Now this only tells me that it's a very good trade. Now the indicator agrees with me. It's a good trade, and we're in profit. Next candle hit the retested the 50. That's normal. It happens quite a lot, so there's nothing wrong with that. It still looks very good. Next candle, wick into the 15-minute into the 50% fib. I still like this trade, obviously keeping it open. Next candle, well, that's another short signal, but now we're starting to see, well, you know what? There's no reason for me to exit this trade. Okay, there's no reason for me to exit this trade at this point, because I have to ask myself, if I want to exit this trade, why am I going to exit this trade? What's that exit based on? And at this point, it's just based on a feeling. It's not based on something that I've tested. Next candle, it doesn't look as good. Okay, now this does not look as good, and when this candle closed, so let's see the next candle, and now it looks much better, right? So now we're back in it looks really good. This looks great actually, And back to that one. Wait, I switched charts, so it kind of went back. So yeah, now it looks better. And I would say at this point, I'm just gonna stay in. There's nothing wrong with this again. And then that candle comes along, and there's a huge wick. And at this point, I'm still in profit. No reason to close this trade. And I mean, at this point, you just have to wait for the stop loss to get hit, and right there, the stop loss would have been hit. So going through the trade one bar at a time, one candle at a time, I still think I would stay in this trade. There's no like super clear reasons to exit this trade, I believe. So yeah, I would still. So that's a good exercise as well. If you're looking at a stop out and you're like, not sure if I would have done it, if I should have done anything differently here. However, let's say you're in a trade and you have the stop loss all the way up here. Let's just say that the trade looks like this. At this point, when you're here, and this would be a recent exit, because now you've entered this trend where this is a rejection, this follows the same behavior, this follows the same behavior, this one as well, and this one, and this is just completely different. This is a change in behavior. So when you have a stop loss like this and you're like halfway up to hitting that stop loss, now you can take a decision to exit this trade, because now the reason why you entered this trade is just now the whole trend and this rejection is just looking very, very different from what you entered. And at that point, you might say that, you know what, I'm just going to take a small loss on this one, because now price action just makes no sense. And it looks like this 1 hour trend is just breaking higher and about to move higher. And there's like clear change in behavior. All right, guys. I think that's it for today's live stream. I'm going back to Euro USD, and not liking what I'm seeing. Looking at the 15-minute right here, looking at the 1 hour. I mean, it's still in that support area. No clear signs of a breakdown just yet. But I mean, it's that downtrend is kind of continuing to the downside. So I might just accept a smaller loss on this one, because now I entered this trade with an idea, and that idea was to see this move being the break in market structure, and now obviously we're just moving lower, so there's no clear break in market structure right here. The idea that I entered based on is basically invalid at this point. So I'm going to take that $35 loss on this one and exit this trade, because now it kind of looks like it's going to hit that stop loss. Because yeah, so this is a good lesson here. When price action does the complete opposite to what you wanted to see at entry, you can definitely cut the trade earlier. And what you can do instead is you can wait for price to confirm the original idea with something like this. If you're breaking that trend line to the upside, put orders here, get filled, same setup, same levels, everything. All right, thanks for joining, everyone, and I will see you all in the trading room. Take care, everyone, and see you in the next live stream. Bye.